with AS and AE, we can try with AC. So all other components will be open there, but there is something issue is there. So I'll try in another browser. So this is the main URL to get all the components details there. If you execute it, you get that all the components there. But for each component, we have separate URL like this. So finally, I'll try with AC. There is something wrong in that main URL, but anyway, if each component is working, that is more than enough for us. So here in this GRC cup, this is component user provisioning. Here, if anyone need access, they can directly go to this request access and raise a GRC access request. And here they can select as per the requirement. They can select for change account, delete account, information, lock account, new user creation, so super user access, etc. Options will be available like this. They can directly click on the respective options and then they can they can submit GRC access request. Okay, but in general, so we can go to the user logon and we can see all the details there also. If you go through these options, you can work with only the respective user request access. But as an administrator, we should able to work on all the things, right? So that is always better to go to user logon. So in this user logon, it will ask user ID and password to log into the GRC cup now. So I'm just giving SAP user. So now it is trying to log in and then we will get the complete GRC cup overview there. So there what are the tabs available, what are the configurations we are going to do, so what are the implementation steps we are going to do, so how the support will be going and everything will be available there now. Generally there will be 3 tabs available: my work, informal and configuration. It's actually very slowly it seems. So this is a slow performance. So this is only right URL. It is working fine, but it's working very slowly. I know the user ID SAP user. So here also it's working very slowly. I think it's very difficult to go ahead with this system performance. So give me 1 second. I'll show you the document today and if possible we'll see tomorrow the remaining things. So this is the one document I'll try to show you today, and then we'll see if it works. Otherwise, I'll look for alternative. So because I was not concentrating on 5.3 especially, and this system access has been taken long back and it's working fine for me till now. So I have not taken any new access for 5.3. For 10.2 I have access without any performance issues. Okay, but anyway, because of the performance issue only, system is up and running only. Even if I try to log into backend system, the same issue is coming. So here also it is the same issue. So let us work out with the document once to get an idea. So that we will see the remaining things tomorrow. If you see here in the document, so you are able to see my document. So this is the first screen we got just now. So Ashok, you are not able to see my document. Okay, fine, perfect. So now here if you see the screen, the same URL and the same page we got here. So here the request status, request access, support, user logon. These are the four options we have here. And here each option is having a specific functionality. Request access option is used to raise a request themselves. Okay, if any user need access, they will come to this cup tool and by providing their user ID and password and by clicking on this request access. Maybe that depends on the client requirement. If in most of the clients until 5.3 I have seen, so the GRC administrators used to raise a request on behalf of users. Okay, in few of the organizations, the users themselves will raise a GRC access request if they need access for any SAP system or for any role. So that depends on the organization. They will get this screen here. So that is the purpose that request access is used. Maybe this is one point we need to remember. And the request status. This tab is used by the end users to check the status of an opening ticket. See, for example, today I have raised a request and then I would like to know the status of the request. If the request is already approved, or request is pending for anybody's approval, and at which stage the ticket is waiting for approval, and also who is the approver to approve the request. So to know the complete status of the request, we can go to the request status here. Especially this will be used by the end users only. And support, just to display the support information for the tool, and the user logon is tab where all approvers can log on to GRC Cup and then they can approve the GRC request. And not only approvers, the GRC administrators also will log into the GRC Cup tool by using this user logon, and they will work on the all remaining configuration administration activities in GRC Cup. Okay, so here if you come down, after logging into GRC, so here I try to giving user ID and password, right? So after giving this user ID and password, next you will get this screen actually. Next you will get exactly this screen. So if you see here in this screen, very clearly we have my work, informal and configuration tab. My work, informal and configuration tab. So this my work tab is used in general in our regular day-to-day activities, and informal just to extract the reports, and configuration we use at the time of implementation mostly to perform all the configuration activities. All the configuration activities. If you see here in the my work tab, we have request for approval and create request, search request, request on hold, approval delegation, and copy request, request audit trial, role reform. These are the few options we have in this my work, and even users or GRC administrators can come to this my work tab and then we can start raising GRC cup requests. If you see here, there is an option called create request. So here you can click on this create request and then you can submit the GRC access request to form complete. So on top of this create request, you have request for approval button there. So this request for approval button is used to update, to approve the GRC request. To approve the GRC request. So if you come here, all the GRC request numbers will be visible here, and also request to type will be visible here. So somebody raised a GRC request to get access for roles, and then it will show you the priority and which date it has been raised. So who is the requester, who raised this GRC request, what is the due date, and who is the user for it. Remember, requester and user both are different. Sometimes both are same also. User, today if I need access for any SAP system, on behalf of me, my colleague might be raising GRC request. So I am the user, I'm going to use SAP system to log in and work on it, and my colleague is a requester now. So requester and user details will be available here, and if you see the stage here at risk analysis stage, it is waiting at risk analysis stage. So there are other two tickets here at provisioning stage. So depends on the client requirement, what are the stages we configured, how many stages we configured will be very clearly shown you here. If the request is waiting for any stage approval, it will show you very clearly like this. So if you want to approve the GRC request, we'll simply click on the request number. And then there will be an option called approve button. After reviewing the details, we'll simply click on approve button. Once you approve it, this request will be automatically approved, and then we'll go for next stage approval. So like this, at each stage the approver will approve the GRC request, and finally the GRC request will be closed, and then the provisioning will be done in the backend system automatically. That is the purpose of this request for approval option. And below that we have create request option. That create request option is used to submit the GRC access request form. So here if you see, just we have given like my work tab is used for what purpose, and informer is for just reporting purpose, and this is for all the configuration activities, configuration tab. So at the time of implementation, configuration tab is really very important, and there we are going to perform maximum implementation activities there. So here we have just directly came to configuration tab, and here we are using, there is a option called create connectors. Maybe I will maximize it. In the configuration tab, so at the time of implementation, first we'll start working with the configuration tab only, not with my work and informer. We'll directly come to configuration. So first the connectors needs to be created. So what is this connector? So we seen like yesterday the workflows, right? Not this one. See here now. So we have seen like this is the thing. So your GRC system is getting connected to all your backend systems. So after creating RFC connections from each component like GRC Cup, RAR, SPM and ERM, you will have configuration tab in each component. So in this configuration tab, you will have very clearly create connectors option. Create connectors option. So here you are going to create connection to your backend system from this GRC Cup tool. So here by selecting connection type is SAP connection type, because your GRC system might be connected to LDAP system and some other enterprise portal systems and all backend SAP systems also. So if you are creating a connector from GRC cup to backend SAP system, you are going to select the SAP connection type as SAP, and the name you are going to give something. You will give the description, application name, and application server name, and system number 00 or client number, that is from your backend system. Some background user ID and password will create in the backend system. That user ID and password should be maintained here. And system language, message server name, message server group, and the host name should be maintained here. And then simply we can save it, and we can test the connection also if it is working fine or not. So if you have 20 systems which needs to be connected to your GRC cup, you have to create 20 connectors here. If you have 50, you have to create 50 connectors here. Remember, for each client there will be one separate connector. If you have ECC development, in ECC development you will have 3 clients. So for each client you are going to create connector here by providing client number very clearly. Okay, so like this, the first step we need to create the connectors for each backend system by using this configuration tab here. That is working still? No, this is still logging in. So if I log into user logon, then only I can see those uh, 3 tabs. I'm trying with other user IDs also, but this is our bad luck. Okay, that is one point we are going to create the connectors. And next is the request type we are going to create here for each here in the configuration tab only. The very first option is request configuration. There we can create request type, priority, application configuration, employee type configuration. So request type is nothing but you have new account creation, change account creation, delete account, role request, super user access. These are all comes under request type only. So SAP has provided already with the standard request types. Maybe if you need anything extra request types, you can come here in the configuration tab. You can go to the request type option, and you can provide here the request type details. Okay, the description, the sequence, and workflow type is come, and you can simply say active here and provide the description of the request to type here and save it. The request to type will be created. So this request to type will be used when you are raising a GRC access request always. There will be option called request to type which you are going to select. This is the purpose of request to type. Next here you can define priority. So the priority is used when you are raising GRC cup request, you are going to select the priority for that request. Low, medium, high and critical. So depends on the priority, the respective approach will approve the GRC request very fastly. Okay. And this application configuration means like whether you have ECC landscape, CRM landscape, SAP SRM landscape, BI landscape, right? So you can create a application name by maintaining like ECC, CRM, SRM like that. So this is the application configuration. And employee type configuration means simply you will have contractors and permanent employees in the organization. So you can just maintain permanent employee or contractor or third party vendor. Like that, we can create employee type. Okay, simply a name of the employee type we are going to maintain here, and then this employee type option will be available in your GRC access request form. When you are submitting the GRC access request form, there you are going to select request type, priority, application name, and then the request type, employee type also, whether the employee is contractor or permanent employee or any other user. So we are going to use this one. So here I think they have given the priority, and here we define the different SAP systems that we have. These systems will appear as the choice when we create the access request form. So if you have ECC, CRM, SRM, for each system we are going to create a name for it, and that name will be visible when you are raising GRC access request. So this is employee type configuration, and here if you see on the same screen, there is an option called number range. So this is the number ranges. So number ranges which needs to be defined here in this configuration tab without fail. The purpose of the number range is when you are raising GRC request, after providing system name, roles information, user details, and manager details, and we generally click on submit button in the GRC access request form. When you click on submit button, next immediately the request number will be generated automatically. In the very first screen, you have seen some GRC access request numbers there. So if you see here, GRC access request number 36907, 36904, like this, these numbers will be automatically generated based on your number range configuration. So that number range configuration we are going to do here in this number range option. So the number range you can define like 1 to 1000 and 1000 to like 2000 or 1000 to 10,000, like that you can create multiple number ranges and we can activate them as per our requirement. Okay, so let us use same screen. Okay, here the number range option purpose is that. So when you are raising GRC top request, there should be something number automatically generated. That number range you are specifying in this configuration tab. Remember for GRC access control 5.3, there are no configurations happen in the backend system. Everything we are doing in this front end GRC access control 5.3 system only. That is a major difference. If you remember the Versa 4.0, we used to just log into backend ABAP system and performing so many activities. But from 5.3 onwards, the backend system will not be used much. Only for firefighter we use the backend system. For GRC cup, for ERM, and for other component risk analysis and remediation, we use these front-end tools only. For each tool, we have separate URL. We just log into the respective URL and start working on it. So there is nothing to do in the backend system. So that's what here we have configuration tab. Here we are configuring each and everything here itself in the web-based tool. So the number range, risk analysis, and mitigation, attributes, service level, self-service. These are the things we are going to configure as per our requirement. If your GRC cup tool is connected to internally to your RAR tool also. I'm telling you, when the GRC request has been submitted, at some particular stage, the risk analysis also will be performed. Actually, the risk analysis will be performed in the GRC RAR tool, risk analysis and remediation tool. But we can integrate your cup and RAR tool always to run the risk analysis in the GRC cup itself. So, in order to do that, we'll come to this risk analysis and we'll configure that RAR tool name also very clearly there. Okay, that's the reason we have these options available here. So it is giving you very clearly by giving the URL of the RAR tool. We are going to use that as a risk analysis in the cup tool itself. And remember, if you don't want to perform risk analysis in GRC cup tool, then not required any integration of your cup and RAR, and we can simply run the risk analysis in GRC RAR only by separately logging into RAR tool. So this is the purpose. We generally GRC cup and RAR tool will be integrated by coming into this risk analysis option. So in this screen, if you see, the risk analysis option is available under this number range. So this risk analysis option, there you are going to maintain the clear URL of the RAR tool. So that When you click on risk analysis option in the GRC cup in the request, then automatically risk analysis will be performed. The mitigation, again here you can perform the mitigation for different users. So you can maintain that mitigation URL also in the GRC cup. But I'm telling you the mitigation will be done always by logging into RAD tool separately. But there is an option to maintain or to log into GRC RAD tool to mitigate any user from GRC cup itself by doing this integration of both the tools. But I'm telling you, we can directly go to GRC RAD tool and we can perform mitigation. So custom field option is, if you need any extra fields under your any page, then you can create the custom fields under this GRC cup tool also. So the custom fields is not mandatory, that is optional. That is optional. So here there are all options are not visible, it seems. Okay. So now we just came to configuration of workflow. This is the main important stuff. Whatever we did till now, like few important configurations. Other than those configuration, the main configuration is this. Workflow needs to be configured. What is the status of our tool? It is still ringing. Okay, fine. So when it comes to workflow, as I told you yesterday, there should be creation, there will be initiator and stage, path, detour, mainly. So those things will be in the configuration. Whatever you are going to create, all things. So I told you yesterday find initiator. So we are going to initiate first. We are going to create it. What triggers a particular workflow? That initiator is used to trigger the workflow in our GRC cup. So generally, we'll have multiple workflows in our GRC cup tool for each request type separately also. So depends on your request type and configuration, and then we can trigger the workflow by using this initiator always. So we are going to use mainly attributes in this workflow creation. Like attributes are nothing but manager is one attribute, request type is one attribute, priority is one attribute, and the employee type is one attribute. So by using those attributes, we are going to create attribute first in the GRC cup initiator. That's going to create an initiator that stages very clearly in the very beginning what initiator we are going to use for this workflow. You will have multiple workflows in your GRC cup. For each workflow, you are going to use a different initiator. That initiator will be initiate the workflow trigger. So maybe by using the initiator will be created by using Boolean functions like AND or OR. So by using these things, we are going to create an initiator, and by using that initiator, we can trigger the workflow. So maybe theoretically just try to understand today, and tomorrow we'll see alternative. So next I told you the custom approved determinators. CAD also needs to be defined. The workflow is a combination of initiator, CAD, detour, stage, path especially. So this is a defined custom approval determinator. So this is like an simply approver details. CAD is nothing but custom approver details. So you are going to maintain the approver details at each CAD. So that CAD will be used at each stage. When you are defining a workflow, it will ask you to maintain approver details also there. So based on that, the request will be getting approval from the different approvers. So here we are going to maintain the approval details here. So by using that approval details, only the request can be approved. So even in the stage configuration also, so by giving some names of the stages, we define the workflow type it is for which will be come. The other workflow types are described later are used for the integration of where and come. So we link the approval determinator created earlier to the stage now. Simply for each stage, this approval determinator will be maintained here. First security stage. So who will all approve the GRC request? If any one guy approves that request from the security team, that's enough. Next, for example, authorization team. So that authorization team, at one guy can monitor that request and then he can perform the risk analysis and he can approve it. So not everyone, at least will maintain the respective shift people, whoever is going to work on those approvals. Next, manager details. Next, role owner. So we all them create in this CAD application only. There is a, in the configuration tab, clearly we have this define custom approval determinator option. There you are going to add all the approval details very clearly. And then we can use that approvers at each stage by using that approver determinator. So here it is giving you like what, how, and even email reminders, notifications, everything will be set up at each stage while defining workflow. Next, path also can be defined. So this is the way simply we discussed yesterday. This is the path at each stage. At path we have different stages, and we have initiator, and we have detour also here. So this is the way the path will be created. When you are creating path, you are going to tell to the GRC system how many stages we are going to use. If you say 2 stages, it will map the 2 stages in that respective path. If you use three stages, you are going to give the number of stages in the path like 3. Then automatically that will be defined in the GRC access control furtherly. In the configuration tab, we are going to define path also here simply. So we can diagrammatically define the path of the workflow. First one needs to specify the number ranges, number of stages, and also select which initiator will trigger this workflow. At the time of path creation, these are the 2 things which we need to maintain there simply. How many number of stages you are using and what is the initiator will trigger this path. So that automatically the path will be created. And detour is a path when a particular condition is met and we need to deviate from the normal workflow path. See here, this is a normal workflow path. First stage, second stage, manager stage, third stage, and auto provisioning should be done. So at second stage, when they run the risk analysis, a special conditions met. A special conditions met here, there are some violations. Then we are deviating this request to some other path. Okay, to SOD team and then manager and finally auto provisioning. This is a deviation. This is called deviation. So that deviation we are going to create as a detour here. Okay, a detour may be needed when there are SOD violations, risks found in the risk analysis, or when role owners are missing also. Then one more example. One is if there are violations. So for example, you have like first stage, first workflow type. It has reached security, it has been approved. Next, it has reached out manager stage. The manager has approved the request. Next, finally, it has reached role owner stage, but there is no role owner defined. The condition is there is no role owner defined. Then the deviation will be started here. So you can now, if there are no role owners found, just deviate this request to some other path. you can deviate this request to GRC admin team or some other alternative team to approve it. So that is called deviation, especially these conditions. You can create a detour also. And SMTP server option is available there just to maintain the email message, the message server name there to get all the alerts. So in order to get alerts from your GRC cup, when somebody raise a request, when somebody approve the request, when the request is closed, yeah, the user and requester will get alerts, right? So the alert email will be configured in this SMTP server configuration to get the alerts. So that is the option we use in GRC cup configuration. So there are some other options are also available, but before doing that, you have to see that respect to GRC workflow creation. So these are not required now. No, yeah, this won't work today. I understood very clearly, and we'll see this tomorrow only. So just a second. I think I have uh, took like few screenshots. If any times like if any system issues are there, just to show. So let me show you that screenshots one more time. So then you'll understand something. Okay. So okay, fine. Even I have took all the screenshots for this respective thing. So you can use this. So this is the first page we got. And after that, so request to status, then we click on user logon, user ID and password will be given here. Next, you will get this page very clearly. My work, informer and configuration tabs are available here. And next is, if you click on create request, see this is a page we'll get. So now you'll understand it. How the GRC access request form will be visible. How are we going to request it? When you click on this create request, you will get this request to type here. See here, it is available change account automatically. If you click on this drop down box, it will show you new account, change account, delete account, log account, SAP super user access, etc. The request to types will be visible here, and the priority also will be available here, and employee type will be available here. So I have shown you these things will be defined in the configuration tab at the time of implementation. Once you configure it, then we are going to just select in the drop down box here. In the support activities, maximum we are going to use these options. The GRC administrators, if they have access for configuration, they can see everything here in this system. Okay, here this giving user ID and user last name, first name, email address. So this is the user details here who need access for any SAP system, and is selecting company name and functional area. Here the requester details also will be visible. I told you already, sometimes some other people may raise a GRC request on behalf of users. For example, in my company, I have a policy like the GRC admin is going to raise a request on behalf of users. Then my user ID and last name, first name will be maintained here. Myself as a requester will be provided here. The user details will be provided here. And next, the manager of the user name also and will be mentioned here always. Manager last name, first name and email address. So then in this application, he is going to select the respective system name. The respective system name. After selecting those system name, so we'll get this next option. After you selecting the respective system name, in the drop down, in the bottom you have this also. So here you are going to see few tabs available here. Risk analysis, okay, and in the very first option, access type, there you can use to select the roles which are required for you. This is the access type here. I think I forgot to click on this access type. When you click on this access type, it will ask you the system name and role name which is required for you. Okay. So why we have this risk analysis, risk violations and mitigation option is here is you can run the risk analysis when you are raising GRC cup request or when you are approving GRC cup request also. So that we'll get an idea if we have any violations there itself. For that, you need integration of cup and RAR always. Okay, both the tools integration should be there because the exact risk analysis will be performed in your RAR tool. So when you integrate it, when you click on risk analysis, it will go to your RAR tool internally and try to identify the violations for the respective user with these codes. This is the option we use it. Okay. After providing these details, system detail, role detail, and not required to run the risk analysis and mitigation, nothing to do anything here from the requester side or user side. This risk violation mitigation will be taken care by managers and role owners, not by requester and not by user. So the user will only provide these details, user details, requester details, emailer details, manager details, and in the access type system name and roles, and he will go to the request reason and provide the request reason also there. I'm a new employee joined in so and so thing. I need access for so and so ECC production system like that. And next in the attachments option, he is going to attach simply the user request form if anything approvals are already there like that. If you would like to attach anything, he can attach in that attachments tab. Once you provide these attachments, request for reason, access type, system name and roles, then you simply click on submit button. When you click on submit button, automatically GRC access request will be created with some number range, automated number range. Okay. that number GRC request will be traveling through different workflow now. At each stage, the approval will be approving it. See here, this is a screenshot. Okay, so this is the raising a GRC request. When you click on create request, after providing all these details, you can simply submit the request. Next, there is an option called search request. So what is the purpose of search request here? If you want to see the status of the existing request, you can come to here, search request, and you can search for a request with a different selection criteria. You can simply give your request ID, or you can give simply user last name here and click on search button. Then obviously you can get the request number also very clearly. When you click on search button here, automatically the request will be created. Maybe you may not remember the request number and whatever it is. If you know at least one detail from this selection criteria, you can give requested name or requested first name or requested last name, user ID or user last name, first name, and even you can give manager last name and first name. By giving any one of these fields, then you can simply click on search button. You will get all the requests here in this way very clearly. You will get a request number very clearly there, and at which stage it is waiting for approval, etc. kind of information will be available there. So that is called search request. I mean, are you understanding something without seeing the system? Are you able to imagine? I'm sure we cannot see these practicals today because still it is ringing, so the system is not at all working fine properly today. So at least are you able to understand something, or are you able to imagine something by seeing the screenshots? Ashok, little bit. Other guys, Ajay, Kaushik and Vidya, are you able to understand something by seeing the screenshots? Yeah, okay. Fine then, that's okay. So once you get some overview, tomorrow we'll try to get some, the system access, and then we'll see practically that kind of, how this navigation works and how the things will be working fine. So anyway, uh, this DRC 5.3 is not our ultimate goal. That's the reason I have not concentrated on this 5.3 system access. But anyway, if you see, we worked with the same system in your Fido in Virsa also. At that time, it was working very fine. So I think there is something happened recently for this system yesterday and today. So we are not able to log in, and the system is working very slowly. There is something performance issue it seems. So let us try to get this access again, and then we'll see. Okay. So just to give you overview, I'm just going through this documentation. So if you just little bit understand it, then it's very easy to compare with your DRC access control 10 cup tool. So how really the DRC 5.3 cup and 10.0 ARM will be deployed, etc. will be very easy to understand and compare. That's the reason I'm just going through this documentation even though the system is not working. So here the request on hold. Each option is we just seen only in the my work option. We have these things. So each option is used for different purpose. We are trying to see that. The first option request for approval to approve the GRC request, create request to submit the GRC access request form, search request to search existing request, request on hold. If you click on this option, it will list out all the pending or on hold GRC access request here. It very clearly will give you the request number and all the details at which stage the request is waiting. So you can download this data also if required, and we can see the status of the request. And next is approval delegation. So generally the approval delegation is used to provide approval authority to some other existing person if anybody is going on vacation. So when you click on this approval delegation, it will ask you to provide the delegated approver ID, delegated approver last name, first name and email address, and for how many days you are going to delegate it. For example, I am the manager or role owner or security admin or any authorization admin team. So I used to approve few GRC requests daily. So I am going on vacation now. So on behalf of my authority or GRC request approval, somebody should approve those requests in my absence for 10 days or 15 days or 1 month. Depends on the vacation or whatever it is. So now I can give my complete authority to some existing person by giving his user ID, last name, first name or email address, and by giving the validity. If I am going on vacation for 10 days, if I give here 10 days validity and save it, now this guy will get all the GRC requests to approve on behalf of me. Whatever the GRC request will come to me, that request will be automatically go to that delegated approver ID. So that he can simply log into GRC Capsule, go to request for approval, and he can see the tickets monitoring. He can just monitor the queue. If there is any ticket which is waiting for his approval, he can simply approve it. So this is a approval delegation works here. And then next copy request option is used to copy the request to create a new request by copying from existing request. So if somebody need access same as his colleague or same as his some other person, if there is already request created for him, we can copy that request by copying these kind of details here: user information, requester information, manager information, roles and profiles, SOD analysis. So whatever the options you require, you can select them and we can simply copy. If you click on copy, the new request will be created by taking the same existing request details and the new request will be created there. That is the purpose we can use it. So this request audit trail is a kind of report just to see what are the requests are available and who requested it, for what the reason they requested it, when they submitted, and what is the status of the request. This is a simply audit trail will be used by audit team generally, and they will download this data in general. So that is the purpose of this role reform. And role audit trail. This role reform is used just to see the the duplication of tickets. If there are any duplication of roles selected, we can remove the ticket, the request which we created, and particular date and time, and between the something duration of period of time we can mention, and we can delete all the tickets by giving some duration. Like for example, if the tickets which are very older than 6 months or 1 year, we can delete them. Role reform usage is that. And sometimes what happens is, if any request is waiting for any stage approval for long time, those tickets also can be deleted if these tickets are long pending tickets. Sometimes even though the escalation happened, the tickets will be like that only. So we can delete those tickets which are long pending. So that is the way the My Work tab will be working. Maximum each and every option we have seen here. So My Work tab, in the My Work tab. This My Work tab will be used more in the support projects, in day-to-day life. So that GRC administrators also will be using this My Work to see the existing request status and to get the report kind of information there. This is the My Work tab. If you see the Informer tab, in the Informer tab you have all the reports only. This is for completely reporting purpose. Just to extract the reports which are available in the GRC cup here. So like we have like service level of requests, requests with conflicts and mitigations. It will show you all the requests which are used in the risk analysis and the mitigated also. So request by roles and role approvals. It will give you all the roles information and also the role approvals information. So this, if you come to this GRC Cup tool, Informer tab, each report you can export and see. And also the description here itself is available. For example, request by roles and role approvals. This report enables you to search for requests based on the roles and role approvals. Okay, it's a kind of a report only. List roles and role approvals. This will give you all the roles, and for each role will maintain some role approvals, right? That information will be provided to you. So approval delegation. Here you can see who are all delegated their approval authority to some other people. We can just monitor there very clearly. Sometimes we can come here and see the request status. Why? Because if someone is going on vacation and he just to see whether he has delegated his authority approval to the existing people or not, we can come and extract the information here. If he is not delegating, at least another administrator, we can take something action on it. So like this is also one report which will give you the complete configured delegation details. So this is completely a reporting purpose. Each option is a report. We can extract it and we can see. So when you click on this analytical report, so when you view this information, when you click on search button, it will give you all the options like this. By giving your selection criteria, you can get all the system details, roles which we have selected, who is the role approver, who is the secondary approver, what is the business process, what is the criticality, etc. We can see all the information related to roles and approvers. So like this, we can get the request types. So here we have analysis view and chart view. So in analysis view, in analytical reports we have seen now, it's a table kind of things or table format data will come. In this chart view, you will get simply the pictorial diagram or simply pie charts. These are all pie charts only. It will give you all the information like this. So here Informer tab is completely used for your reporting purpose. Next, the configuration tab is used to configure request types and all the workflows at the time of implementation. If you see my screen now, again I am coming to configuration tab. The very first option is request type, priority, application, employee type. If you see here, there are few existing things and which I created for different purposes here. Okay, SAP has provided already some default standard request types. You can simply use them only, but if you need any extra request types, you can create by clicking on this create option. Simply, just by giving the name of the request type, description, short description, and workflow type. Either you are using that request type for cup or for any other reviews, etc. So that is called request type configuration. So priority application in employee type we give like that. See here, just before we have seen this risk analysis also here. So you are going to configure risk analysis here if you need cup and RAR integration. Otherwise, this is not at all required. So here you are going to define analysis type action level, and you are mentioning here the risk analysis and remediation version. If it is 4.0 or 5.0 or 5.1, 2, 3, 4 like that. So here in this drop down box, you will get those options very clearly. Okay, and then you are going to mention here the perform risk analysis and request. So whether you would like to run the risk analysis when the request is getting submitted, when it is getting approved. So based on this configuration only, the risk analysis can be performed in the GRC cup. So mitigation URL also we can provide here if you have cup and RAR integration. I am telling you, if there is no cup and RAR integration, this is not at all required. Okay. For each mitigation control ID, by default 365 days will be there. So here you can maintain mitigation URL and risk search URL, function search URL, for this mitigation purpose here. So how will you get this URLs? You need to log into RAD tool, go to mitigation and just take that URL and paste here. That's all. So if you see here, there are so many other options are also available, and the workflow is a main important thing, and also connectors is also important thing. So for each system you need to create a connector. We use this connector option, and we use this workflow for workflow creation. Maybe let me come down and I'll show you. So I just came to now workflow option directly. The other options are used for different purpose, user registration, custom fields, and request for customization, request form customization, support. And these are not mandatory anyway. So, but mandatory thing is workflow. If you come to this workflow option, when you just expand it, it is first option itself initiator, and second is CAD, third is stage, path, detour, email reminders, escape route, auto provisioning, CA system, SMTP server. So all these configurations are combinedly called as your workflow. If you configure all these things, your workflow will be created for different purposes. So now when I click on this initiator, it is showing you available initiator feature. As of now, in this system, there are no available initiators. If you would like to create new initiator, you can simply click on new initiator and then you can create an initiator for different workflows. Maybe if I took the data, yes. When I click on create initiator, this page came. So here you are going to give the name of the initiator, description, workflow type, and the conditions you are going to maintain here. The condition I maintain and the attribute value you are going to maintain like request type or priority or manager or any each value each in the GRC access request form you have different options are available there, so you can take that attribute as a initiator attribute here. So based on that initiator attribute and value, the condition, see for example I'll tell you, if any user select request type new account, so that is the first attribute is new account. If anybody select new account and then and functional process or functional area or business process SD, business process SD. These are the two conditions very important for me. Request to type is called new account and business process is called SD. Then this request should go to so and so approvals. By for SD, we'll have some spokes and that path needs to be defined by using this initiator. Then like that, we use request type, priority, and employee type, and business process, functional area, sub process, and etc. will be used as a attribute here by using the condition and or. If you use and, if any requester select new account and also SD business process, both conditions should be satisfied. If you say or condition, if any one of these conditions satisfied, the request should go through this path. That will be decided by this initiator actually. So when you come to this condition and attribute, if you in this drop down box, all attributes will be available there, and there you are going to mention value. If you select request type, the value will be new account, change account, etc. And if you select super user access simply, then if you select basis firefighter ID, the request should go to basis firefighter ID owner approval. If they select SD firefighter ID, it should go to SD firefighter ID owner approval. That is the way the initiator will be created here. Initiator is used to trigger the workflow in the very beginning by looking the different conditions, by selecting the different conditions. That is what here the initiator will be created. Once the initiator is created, so I think we forgot to take those CAD stage parts. So directly email reminder. So here you can mention the email notifications as per your requirement. For reminder, for submission when the close. When the request is submitted, you can come to the submit button. I mean here you can define the alerts. If you see we'll get alerts always in our email boxes. Let me show you just for your reference. So those alerts will be coming based on this configuration only. There will be something text which will be come to you always. So access request. See, this is one alert. Let me search with this. You'll get all alerts. This is also one alert. After creating the, see, dear user and requester. I created GRC access request for some user on behalf of them. Then I got alert. So these are the roles I selected and I simply submitted the GRC request. Actually, this is 10.0 system, but I'm just showing you alert. So these alerts and data, if you want to get, you need to configure clearly in the respective system. So these email alerts, if you want to get, you get so many alerts actually. So like this, I created some other user also one request. Like this, alerts will come. So those alerts will come to you by maintaining the data here. When the request is submitted, when the request is closed, if you want to send a reminder. Okay. So at and how many after how many days the reminder should send, we are going to mention here. Okay, if some approver is not responding for 72 hours, then we can simply say 2 days, and we can simply say 2 days there, so that the reminder email will be sent to the respective approver for every 2 days like this. Email reminder will be maintained here. So directly I came to see your system here. So I just forgot to take the screenshots, especially path, stage, and etc. Though they are very important here actually. So after creating initiator, if you come to this CAD, it will ask you to maintain all the approval details there simply. Next, when you come to stage, it will ask you to give the stage name. For example, as per our example here, so first stage security, second stage manager, third stage role owner. So these stages will be created at this option by using this stage option. And path option, simply using the path name and how many number of stages you are going to use and what is the initiator for that respective path. Then the request will be automatically triggered to that respective path. So these are the two things, and detour and fork are to deviate the request if there are any violations exist, or if there are any role owner not found, or if there is any approver not found, then the request will be deviated to some other path. So those are the very important things we generally use it. Okay, so I think I forgot to take those screenshots. That's all. Here it is. I took only important screenshots here, but forgot to take that respective screenshot. So I'm sure this is not at all working fine. I'm just closing it and we'll see tomorrow this if it works fine. I'll maximum try to get this access and we'll see clearly that cup and jar will take some more time, maybe 1 or 2 days, 2 days. And once this is over, we can jump into 10.2 and we can compare very clearly. Okay, guys, you have any questions you can ask. So I can't do anything. The system is not working fine.